the people. Use is life as a great object lesson. So you see in chapter 24 where he pulls out the thought and help to send the message home. Where in verse 15 it says, also the word of the Lord came to me saying, Son of man, behold, I take away from you the desire of your eyes with one stroke. Yet you shall neither mourn nor weep, nor shall your tears run down.
Yes, sir.
Sigh in silence, make no mourning for the dead. Bind your turban around your head and put your sandals on your feet. Do not cover your lips and do not eat man's bread. So I spoke to people in the morning and in the evening my wife died. And the next day I did as I was commanded. Yeah?
Yes, sir.
You know, we could read hand on hand, but I just want you to get the object lesson that is coming across.
Yes, sir.
Question or comments?
Sometime when we are, I'm trying to imagine to have a picture of what life was exactly during these times, because while these books are written and they are giving us some illustrations of how people were living. So at times I'm saying it is like, society today would be better. It is not that it is better, because many things are being done, though they are being done in darkness and we may not know about them. But now these things, as we have them in the book, and I believe there was a part of it saying that, father will eat sons and all of these kind of abominations. It is like beyond imagination, And so God has his reason, because we all the time are saying that God is always bringing suffering and all of that. It's because he is not loving, but it is all according to what we have done ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Brother
sir.
Rod?
Yes, sir. So as we just read Ezekiel 23, so I was just here imagine how these girls their behaviors towards men flaunting themselves, maybe dressing up a certain way and using their bodies to attract men to them. Now I heard you allude to guys wearing tight clothes, but some of these ladies, I don't know if they deliberately do that. Sometimes they wear some clothes. Sometimes when they're walking, the clothes actually start to move up to their waist. They have to
Pull
continually
down.
grind it down.
Mm-hmm.
So I think nowadays things are getting a bit worse, where maybe sometimes the girls having, and I am not just picking on the girls.
All
They
right, good.
they they have their clothes cut to a certain mention of their body. Sometimes you see their butt pushing out somewhere. And I think that's inappropriate for some of these people.
It's inappropriate in a way, you know, unless it's your private domain, you know.
Yes, sir.
But it's a general principle, and I allude mainly to the men because nothing is said much about the men, the way they're dressing. Most of the time we blame the ladies, you know, although they are there, you with me?
Yes, sir.
But we
Yes,
need to
sir.
be more conscious about what we display.
Yes, sir.
All right. Thanks for the comments, and I know for sure today something was said that gave you some thing to think about. All right.
Yes, sir.
You know, and you know, some exploring, and I can tell you that 99% of the men that preaches today hardly read about this and hardly pay much attention to this. So it needs to be exposed so we can have the regulation coming through as God would have it. Decency coming through. Okay, I'm still going to give you some time, but not right now. It's going to be less than the normal time, okay? Because we started
Yes, sir.
somewhat late.
Yes, sir.
All right, so I might just give you about 5 minutes. So we'll stop maybe about 11:25, somewhere there, before we'll pick up the next class. Then there are a series after this, there's a series of oracles. That's after the thing with Ezekiel family, the love of his life, and he become mute and all, all of that kind of hitting. There was a series of oracles against several different nations. And all I will do is to kind of run through the series. You know, we have a oracle against Ammon, oracle against Moab, and we look at a few of these. Then oracle against Edom, oracle against Philistia, and oracle against Tyre, and on. But let's see how these things play out. It says, Ammon, because of joy over the fate of Jerusalem, God will make Ammon a possession of the east. Others will dwell in it. Haman as plunderer for the nation, cut off and destroyed. So here is it, Ammon was rejoicing over the destruction of Jerusalem. And it tells us that we should not rejoice over the plight of other persons.
Yes, sir.
This is what I will do. Can you remember, a man of prophet that we study where persons were rejoicing over the plight and God's punish them? The person that were set up in the cleft of the rock. You remember?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
What book is that? I just want to play your man a little bit.
Was it not?
All right, don't give yourself trouble. It's supposed to be up there.
Was it not Amos?
Micah. I was thinking about
No, it's
Micah.
up there. Up there.
Either one of them, Amos or Micah.
All right, but no, it's not Amos. But that's all right. We are not in my prophet, but it's really up there. When I shot this book, and it tells that they were laughing over all of Israel and they suffer the consequence. But let's go on. We should not rejoice over the plight of our enemies. Learn that. And, this is the human tendency. Somebody would have done you wrong and you feel that you can laugh and rejoice. God said, don't do it. Haman did it and suffered the consequence. Huh? Yes. Edom did it and suffered the consequence before.
Yes, even the
So that's a
children,
lesson for all of us.
even the children
Because,
that mock, sir.
yes, sir?
That's to add to that what you're saying. Even the children that mock Elisha.
Suffer the consequence.
Yes, sir.
I say, go up, be bald-headed, right? And laugh at him.
Yes, sir.
All right. Then an earthquake came up against Moab. That's in chapter 25 and verse 8 through 11. Moab and Shur believe that Judah as other nation, thus its glory will be exposed, given to east as possession, judgment executed. And here's it, don't laugh, don't glow over the misfortune of your enemy. It doesn't matter how bad they are. God said, don't do that. You're not having a right because you're not all that good and pure and obedient, right?
Yes, sir.
Every one of us have some type of taint somewhere. So we have no right to be glowing. It's like what the book of, I think it's Ephesians says, and my head kind of running a little bit. It says that remember you were once like this, huh? Aliens,
Yes, sir.
huh?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Drunkard, you were not a part of the Commonwealth. Yeah, it says, remember, you get what I'm saying? Remember
Yes.
this.
I think
It's
it's
like,
in Ephesians chapter 2, 1 and 2.
yeah, somewhere there. I when my head is not linked to thing that I can give you the precise thing, but you're young and sharp, you're supposed to be able to recall
Yes.
book chapter verse. I'm just teasing you a little bit. Book chapter and verse. Then
Yes.
Edom acted with revenge against Judah. God will cut off man and beast from Edom. Vengeance upon them. Just turn to chapter 25, 12 to 14. I just want to look at this. Thus said the Lord God, because of what Edom did against the house of Judah by taking vengeance, and as greatly offended by avenging itself on them. Therefore, thus said the Lord God, I will also stretch out my hand against Edom, cut off man and beast, man and beast, and make it desolate. From Teman, Dedan shall fall by the sword. And I want you to look at that and pay keen attention. Remember that the Edomites were descendants of Esau,
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
the brother of Jacob.
Yes, sir.
And Jacob was known as Judah at this time.
Sure.
And Esau was robbed out of, well, quote unquote, out of the birthright.
Yes, sir.
Hmm?
Yes. Mother's fault.
Oh, no, you're talking. So here is it. In spite of the fact that a seemingly injustice was done, it says, don't glow. Can you imagine?
Yes,
Can you imagine somebody would have done you something wrong and you see they're suffering the consequence? How do you feel? Now, in a practical way, don't worry, play the preacher this morning. How do you feel?
well, in
Don't you
fact,
say that? Yes, sir.
yes, sir. I was gonna say that the Edomites didn't just stay outside and laugh. They even helped other countries to fight Israel.
Yes, but I'm saying now, put yourself in the place of the Edomites, that you were
Yes.
done an injustice. And now you see the person who oppressed you is being oppressed. Wouldn't you stand back and say, you deserve it?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Humanly speaking, serve
Yeah,
your right
you
in
must.
Jamaican language.
Yeah,
You say,
yeah.
serve your right, Brother Roy.
Of course.
Mm.
Well, God
I'm
said
just-
that is bad attitude. So you can see the whole thing that we must love our enemies in spite of. Huh?
Their downfall.
That is not an easy lesson.
Yes, sir.
It's hard, and if we're honest to ourselves and God, it's not easy. But we will have to tell ourselves that we want to obey God rather than man. And it seems like it's best we just go on and stop at minutes to 12, okay?
Okay, sir.
We'll give you back the extra time about 12 o'clock or 10 past 12. You'll get the extra 10, 20 minutes, maybe about 12 o'clock. So we'll just go on. Questions or comments? Or you need to get something to drink because you were there, I was here.
Well, everything all right, sir. I have no question and no comment for the moment.
Okay, brother Roy, you want 2 or 3 minutes?
No, sir, I am okay, sir.
Okay. All right. So remind me that I promised to let you off roughly about 12 o'clock. You hear?
Okay, sir.
Yes, sir.
I will keep going because I had so much planned for the class for today. And even though I'm kind of rushing a little bit, we started late. So would have seen the ark against Ammon, Moab, and Edom. But here is it against Philistia. And again, Philistia took vengeance in enmity.
Fair reading now, sir. The mic is muted, sir.
You watch? You are there?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and next call is coming and try to cut out this thing. And my thing is not that flowing. So Philistia and all of these are going to find the vengeance coming. And God is not pleased. Then entire.
I was asking where you're reading, sir.
Page 35. Under G.
With
Number 4. You there? Page 35. You there, brother?
Yes, sir. I am there now.
Yes, sir.
All right. Number 4. So Philistia took vengeance in enmity. Then God stretched out his hand. Tyre in 586 BC. Tyre, happy about the fate of Jerusalem. God against Tyre. Nation against her. Plunder for the nation. Nebuchadnezzar against Tyre. Death, destruction, merchandise, riches looted. Tyre suffered the consequence on.
Yes, sir.
Because, and I just want to say, because they gloated over their enemy, Jerusalem. I wonder what will happen to Putin in Russia. Huh?
Yes, sir.
As they gloat over Croatia. Huh?
Croatia?
Yeah.
Oh, I have not heard that.
Because they are, I'm using the right nation? The nation that Russia is fighting.
Ukraine, sir.
Ukraine.
Yeah, but I think Croatia is in Ukraine. I might be my geography that throw me off. All right, as they gloat over Ukraine. war, as one person says, in war, no one wins. Then point six, brother Roy, could you just look at this, and then point seven to give my voice a little thing. Point seven, brother Solon, we all pick that up. Brother Roy, point six.
All right, sir.
Tyre. Lamentation over Tyre, boasted in beauty, great finery from other countries, armies from other countries, nation around known world did business with Tyre. Different location and products describe at destruction, great lamentation and mourning because of the loss of merchants, profit. Ezekiel 27.
Yeah, so what we want to kind of get to, what we really want to kind of get to is the idea that the gloating over other people because of their downfall is definitely against the whole attitude and character of God. That's the reason he says in his word that we should love our neighbor as ourselves.
Elves.
You know, what you like for yourself, that you can give to others. But what you don't like, don't give it to others. Do unto others as you have them do unto
you.
you is an everlasting principle
Yes, sir.
of good relationship. Because today you might be this and tomorrow you might be that. Eh?
Yes, sir.
They might look at that now and laugh because you are this. But tomorrow you might be that and the person might be this. Eh?
Yes, sir.
So if we allow these social and relational principles to guide not us individually, but as a community and as a nation, as a world, what a wonderful place it would be. Eh?
Yes, sir.
You wouldn't have to be afraid to get up anytime in Mona or Portland or St. Catherine, anytime to go where you want to go, whether morning, noon, or night. Eh?
Yes, sir.
Brother Roy?
Yes, sir.
Brother Solon, pick up now with 7.
Tyre, to Prince of Tyre, believe in his great wisdom, exalted seat, despite greatness, defiled self. God will bring foreigners upon him. He will die the death of uncircumcised. Lament over kind of Tyre, great perfection, describing terms of precious jewels, excellence and blamelessness, heart made proud, sin increased, fire brought upon city, consumed, dreadful hand, nations appalled. Ezekiel 28 from verse 1 to 19.
Wow. Wow. You know, I like the idea, heart made proud.
Yes, sir.
Heart made proud. And you see, when a person is proud, then 1,000,001 thing going to take place. Because a proud person normally is a selfish person, self-centered. It's I, me, and myself. You think about it.
Yes, sir.
A proud person is always a self-centered person. And that put everybody else in the background. And so it was with Sidon. God against Sidon, judgment executed, God's holiness manifest, pestilence and blood and sword. The house of Israel then no longer as a source of pain to the neighbor. God will in gather dispersion, will dwell securely in the land, rebuild. All will know that God is the Lord. And when God clean up a situation, it is to say that, listen now, I am God. Huh?
Yes, sir.
I am God. So I'm going to do what I need to do to keep this earth, to keep this terra firma clean and pure. I am God. And we'll press on. We'll press on. Questions or comments? I know it's supposed to be getting a little boring. No, I had planned to kind of give you a class, nail a class, because today my birthday. You hear me?
Yes, sir.
What?
We are hearing you, sir.
Yes, today is my birthday, and I had planned to give you part of the class, but it got started
Okay.
too late.
Huh? Getting
All right.
younger, sir.
I'm an older man today.
No, sir. You're getting younger.
No, that psychology won't work with me again.
Okay.
All right.
Yes.
But it's amazing when you go through this book, the amount of live story, how the allegories actually come across well. But not only that, how the prophets actually kind of tie in with each other. Huh? Both the
Yes.
minor and major prophet. You can see a whole lot of things in the other prophets leaping out in this zone.
Yes.
Point nine. Egypt, Africa, huh?
Yes, sir.
You know, and I said that deliberately because sometimes we don't understand how many times Africa is mentioned in the Holy Writ. Eh?
Yes, sir.
You know, we want persons a lot of times to think that Africa was backward and was not a part of the scenario of God, but Africa has always been different countries in Africa.
Yes, sir.
But 589 BC, God stood up against Pharaoh. Huh?
Mm-hmm.
And listen, Pharaoh believed that he made Nile for himself.
Okay.
That the great river Nile was built by him for himself. Eh?
Mm-hmm.
No, he didn't do it.
And throughout history, the river Nile has a strong standing for feeding people. It says that the banks of the river Nile was amongst the most fertile in the world. In fact, they say if you want food, you go to
Nile.
Africa.
Egypt.
Huh? Egypt, that's Africa, don't?
Yes, sir.
You know, and you can see that in history or many times famine and person had to go to
Egypt.
Egypt or Africa to collect food. People from all over. You know, they might not have been the greatest rug maker and fabric makers and all of that, although they were good when it comes to building, they were constructed, but they were great farmers. You know, people away from Babylon come down through Israel to go down into Egypt to buy food. The Ishmaelites, remember, they traveled straight through. They were merchant going down to Egypt to trade, to get what? Food.
Right.
Yes, sir.
When Jesus Christ came, Jesus found rescue. Joseph and Mary found rescue in Africa. So Jesus lived in Africa for a while alone.
Yes, sir.
All right, you know, brother Solin,
Yes, sir.
you with us?
I am.
Yes, good. So Pharaoh thought that he was thinking because, you know, he wanted, and in fact, he was worshipped as God.
Yes, sir.
So he thought that the river Nile was for him. He built it. God will hook him as a fish and cast him into the wilderness, given to the animal as food. God will bring sword upon Egypt because they have been unreliable allies to Egypt. God will make Egypt a desolation because they believe Nile is their creation. 40 years later, Egypt gathered again and made a lowly kingdom, never again rule on the nation. Israel is not rely upon it. So God intervened in all the great nations of the world when they become proud, when they become self-centered. Huh?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
God intervened. So as nations, God dealt with, so he will deal with individuals.
Yes, sir.
Wow. That kind of sound evident.
He will.
Yes, and sometimes we go through situations, circumstances, and it is really God purging us. That kind of sound rough, don't?
Yes, sir.
But it's God actually processing us when it's not easy, not easy, but it is God processing us. I just want to end with Ezekiel 29, 1 to 16. We're going to end on that note, and next week we'll have a class, and then the other week we'll have our exam. That's how it's supposed to be, right? I think so.
Yes, sir.
So we'll deal with 36 and 37 and part of 38. I think you just get a little part of 37, but we'll deal with that next year. But let's look at Ezekiel 29, 1 to 16. And
Sorry,
our class will stop on this note.
sir, before you move to that,
Yes, sir.
you would have said something that struck me a little bit.
Okay.
And I think I want to make a lesson on it, or preach a lesson on that. So I want you to remind me of where I could find that. I will just remind you of what you said. You said that in spite of your enemies oppress you, you still should love your enemies.
Yes.
So
But
I want to find that in the passage so I can mark it.
all right. All you have to do is to read a chapter. All the chapters.
Okay, sir.
You know, if you look at Edom, where they're acting revenge in chapter 25, and God is against them. Philistia also take vengeance in chapter 25, 13 following. And then I can't go through all of the details, but you can go back to Deuteronomy, where the law was given that you should love your neighbors, your enemies as yourself. And Jesus Christ came and reiterated that we should do unto others as we would have them do unto us. Right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
It's just a rough thing because time is climbing on us. Chapter 29, 1 through 16. It's a good reading, but I think it's essential. In the 10th year, in the 10th month, and the 12th day of the month, the word of the Lord came to me, saying, Son of man, set your face against Pharaoh, king of Egypt, and prophesy against him and against all Egypt. Speak and say, Thus saith the Lord God, Behold, I am against you, Pharaoh, O king of Egypt, O great monster who lies in the midst of his river. You watch that?
Yes, sir.
Who has said, My river is my own.
Yes,
I have
sir.
made it for myself. But I will put a hook in your jaw and cause a fish of your river to stick to your scale, and I will bring you up out of the midst of your river. And I want you to pay attention, because God was not pleased,
Wow.
because he was taking what is not his own.
Right.
Yes, sir. That's a great line.
Huh?
This is a
My
great line.
river.
He says that he has made the river. Oh,
Yes. So I'm going to make you like a fish. Then he says, I will leave you in the wilderness and all of the fish of your river. And that is like a mockery now. God is mocking it down.
Yes.
Huh?
yes, sir.
You shall fall on the open field. You shall not be picked up or gathered. I have given you as food to the beasts of the field and to the birds of the air. Then all the inhabitants of Egypt shall know that I am the Lord. You are not the Lord. Pharaoh, you are not the Lord, because they have been a staff of reed to the house of Israel. Then, and when they took hold of you with the hand, you broke and tore all their shoulder. When they leaned on you, you broke and made all their back quiver.
Yes, sir.
I'm jumping to verse 9. The land of Egypt shall be, beg your pardon, the land of Egypt shall become desolate and waste. Then they will know that I am the Lord. And this is a message. I am going to do this so people will know that I am God. I am the Lord. Pick up for me. We are going. Pick up for me, verse 10.
Therefore, I am against you and against your rivers, and I will make the land of Egypt utterly waste and desolate, from Migdol to Syene, as far as the border of Ethiopia.
As far as the border of where?
Ethiopia.
Ethiopia. So God, have this under his belt, this is it. So these African nations that were great kingdom turn against God and start to take the glory for them. Self. It says, neither foot of man shall pass through it, nor foot of beast shall pass through. Desolation. And it shall be uninhabited for 40 years. Wow. 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 I will make the land of Egypt desolate, lay waste for 40 years. See, going again?
Yes, sir.
In verse 13, I jump a little bit. Yet thus said the Lord, at the end of 40 years, I will gather the Egyptians from all the peoples among whom they are scattered. And, you know, the Rastafarians kind of have a thing with this, you know, repatriation, brother Roy.
Right, sir.
You know, but this is it. He's saying this is what's going to happen. I will bring back the captives of Egypt and cause them to return to the land of Pathros. Pathros. So the land of their origin. And there they shall be a lowly kingdom. And you know, you hardly hear much about Egypt today, but it's a great kingdom, well run. You with me?
Yes, sir.
It shall be the lowest of the kingdom. It shall never again exalt itself above the nations, for I will diminish them so that they will not rule over the nation. Like they are not going to become what? World power again.
Yes, sir.
You know, right now we know that Russia and America and China, really fighting to become what? World power, eh?
Yes, sir.
Right, sir.
But you don't hear much about Egypt. Then in verse 16, where we'll stop. No longer shall it be the confidence of the house of Israel, but will remain, beg your pardon, but will remind them of their iniquity when they turn to follow them. Then they shall know that I am the Lord your God. And he talk about Nebuchadnezzar king and all of this. But God uses, I want to stop at this note, uses nations to discipline nations. God used pestilence to discipline nations. God uses diseases to discipline nations,
Yes, sir.
plague to discipline nations. And last but not least, I want to say is that I believe, and you don't go on, this is not, I'm not saying this is what the book says. So, I'm taking this upon myself to say this. But the high possibility is there that God is using COVID to discipline the world. You are there?
Yes, sir.
Right here.
Think about it. The world right now is confused. Nobody knows exactly what to do. The only person that can deal with this is God. No, I'm not saying this is what Ezekiel is dealing with. I just use an application, all right?
Yes, sir.
But he uses various things to discipline the world. Now I'm going to ask you quickly to give me a little recap, and then we'll close for the day.
All right, sir. Well, I believe we started the class looking the about the rebellion and the harlotry that was held in Jerusalem. And I think we used two women, Oholiah and Oholiba. One represented Samaria, one represented Jerusalem, and they show all the, sexual immorality that they were involved in, and all these kind of things. Now we proceed further to look at the punishment on the nations, starting with Sidon, Ammon, the Edomites, Philistine, and all these countries, because some of them were proud, some of them were taking pleasures in the faith of Israel, and Jerusalem. So for these reasons now, God was punishing them. And we've spent most of the time looking at Pharaoh and Egypt because he was exalting himself, saying that he's the, the one who had made the river of Nile. And now God decided to mock him and punish him, show him that he is the only one God that exists and no one else.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Brother Solon. Brother Roy?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. So I would just say that the women that were there flaunting themselves in idolatry, and as we know, they represent the two nations. God would have, Pharaoh, who was trying to own something that was even there before him. So God would have mocked him about him trying to own something that he already made before him. So yeah, that's what I learned so far.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yes,
All
sir.
right. Please read over the remaining chapters, 29 following, that will deal with next class, 29 to 48. Next class, we are supposed to finish these so we can do a recap over this. And I can tell you that, we are going to get some questions. I want you all to think about the background of the book and think about the social background, the religious background. The man, tell about the man Ezekiel, tell about his mission that going to be necessary, and lessons from the book. And then, you might get also a summary of the book, a rough summary, and this is, not a long thing, a summary, what you would have gathered. Some of those might come through, the next 2 weeks. All right?
Okay, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you all for the dear